Now you see, I don't want to be no video machine pumping out videos, but there's people in my family trying to tell me that Apollo missions was just the pursuit of excellence in technology. And I beg to differ. All it is paying homage to false pagan demonic gods of Apollo, Orion, Artemis. They named their craft Dragon. Now, this here, Apollo 8, Book of Genesis reading, December 24th, 1968. These clowns are, what they're doing really, going up to their infinite vacuum universe, outer space, and whipping out Bibles to read Bibles, is not to glorify God, but to mock God. They don't want to read the part where the heavens declare the glory of God and the firmament sheweth his handiwork, or the earth is the footstool of God and the heavens are his throne. Heaven, the Bible tells us, is above the earth. God's throne. God sits above the circle of the earth. Okay? And this reading I just said is from Isaiah, where he says circle of the earth. A circle can only exist in two dimensions upon a flat surface. You know, it's a two-dimensional thing. Or you're failing geometry if you don't know the difference between a circle and a sphere. Isaiah also uses the word ball. I will toss thee violently like a ball. So Isaiah did know the difference between a sphere and a circle. Three-dimensional sphere ball and a two-dimensional circle on a flat surface. God sits above the circle of the earth. So what these guys are doing are getting you to violate Exodus 23:13 that tells us not to have or utter the names of false pagan demonic gods. Okay? And that's why they named every light in the sky after a false pagan god. Venus, Saturn, Mars, Mercury, Neptune. These are all false pagan gods that scumbag Romans and Greeks and other so-called and alleged ancient cultures served. Now listen to this. This is not glorifying God. What they're doing here is they're going to start saying they're approaching the lunar this or that, the lunar surface, sunrise on the moon. What they're doing is subliminal. They are telling millions of weak Christians that we are in outer space and that when you traverse through the sky of the earth, up through it, there is no heaven up here. There is no throne of God up here. It is an infinite vacuum universe, outer space. And this is the true intent for them to read from the Bible. Everything they do pays homage to the false pagan gods of Apollo, Orion, Artemis, and they name their rockets after dragon. We know, if you know the Bible, you know who the dragon is. There is no other reason. This is not glorifying God.
We are now approaching lunar sunrise, and for all the people back on Earth, the crew of Apollo 8 has a message that we would like to send to you.
Yes, a message. Program.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep.
Waters.
And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good.
Okay, I'm going to stop it for a second because it's quite disgusting. There are a lot of weak, gullible, and naive Christians out there that actually think they took the time. These atheists who say we came from baboons, primates, that all three-dimensional physical reality of matter came from a big bang produced by an infinitesimal point they call a singularity. and that something can come from nowhere. This cannot be demonstrated anywhere on the earth. Okay? What we have is order. And over the constant present, or over time, order always falls apart. Nothing is eternal. Nothing is infinite. Everything rusts, erodes, corrodes, decays, and falls apart. Okay? There can be no infinite vacuum universe of a vacuum expanding and creating new areas of time, spacing, matter while doing so. That is illogical. Vacuums have to be contained. There are no natural vacuums on the earth. We have to make them. And once contained, a vacuum cannot expand. So what these people are doing here is mocking the one true and most high God of all reality and creation. We know that this computer cannot exist unless it was made. And it had to be made by a superior being who has the ability of thought. Nothing can arrive or derive from nowhere. There must be a plan, process, and repeated execution to make more than one computer or anything we now enjoy that we bust our butts to go work for, or whatever you're going to do to get these things. Okay? And these people are planting messages in the minds of the weak that we are way above the earth, over the sky of the earth, and there is no kingdom or throne of heaven, like the Bible says. Okay, they're not reading those scriptures. Okay, they're not reading that the heavens declare the glory of God and the firmament sheweth his handiwork, or that God sits above the circle of the earth and we appear as grasshoppers. Okay, and please, circle is not a three-dimensional spinning spherical water world sphere space ball. Go look up geometry. Ask Google what is the difference between a circle and a sphere. A sphere is a ball. Isaiah used that word, I will violently toss thee like a ball. And then Isaiah said a few chapters later, it is God who sits above the circle, the two-dimensional circle on a flat surface that looks down upon the circle of the earth, and we appear as grasshoppers. Okay? And the main point here is that God sits above the earth. His throne is above the earth, and the earth is his footstool.
And divided the light from the darkness.
They are mocking God. They want you to believe they're in an infinite vacuum universe, outer space. They call this outer space that's in between the moon and the earth cislunar space. Okay? These people are liars. They are mocking God, and they want it in your mind that there is no heaven, there is no throne of God above the earth like the Bible says. It's outer space, and they're in it.
And God called the light day. And the darkness he
Scumbags.
called night. And the evening and the morning was the first day. And God
I say, may God's wrath follow him. With every lie he tells, let it rain down upon all liars. Okay, these guys went to the moon and landed on the moon in 1969, but do you see the looks on these traitors' faces at the press conference when they come back? Let's take a look. Okay, now, I've seen this many times, and I will say that these three men, before doing this, before perpetrating this on their fellow man, had a lot of character and logic. But you can see on their faces that they did not just achieve mankind's greatest achievement in all known history, to fly up and whiz up and land on the moon, play some golf, blah, 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 and come back. Okay, you see how they treat people that win the Super Bowl and how people act when they've achieved something great. And these are things no one else can achieve. Now, pay attention. Look at their faces.
Of that decade. We're going to divert a little bit from the format of past press conferences and talk about the things that interested us most, in particular the number
Look
of
at his face. Study his
and slides
expression.
which most of you have already seen, and with the intent of pointing out some of the things that we observed on the spot, which may not be obvious to those of you who are looking at them here from the surface of Earth.
Yeah, you scumbag.
The slide, as you know, started promptly. And I
Look,
think
laugh,
it's
yeah.
characteristic of
Yeah, look, see what he's
all
doing?
the events of the flight.
He's a liar, okay? And maybe they thought it was going to be easy doing the plan. Let's act like we're going to the moon to project national security, superior technology to the other nations. And he was cool with it. But now that it's actually happening, you can see. You watch this. Type in that. And watch these guys' mannerisms and expressions and stuttering and wanting to sometimes laugh and then like they're sweating bullets because they're lying to their fellow man at a press conference. Traitors of the truth. You know this guy? He would never do public interviews after this. Throughout his whole life, he only appeared once, maybe twice. And then what he said, you wouldn't believe what he said about how they hide and gloss over the truth's many protective layers. I'm sure a lot of you know that interview. Okay, 1 second. Now watch his mannerisms, his eyes, they're very shifty. Just watch his mannerisms. See, I'm someone that used to study body language. Okay, and you just pay attention.
It's characteristic of all the events of the flight. The Saturn gave us one magnificent ride, both into Earth orbit and on a trajectory to the moon.
Yeah.
Our memory.
Yeah, he's got to lie. He doesn't like it.
differs little.
It seems like he doesn't really want to lie. He's not into it. And he has reservations. Now I'm going to show you some other things about these liars that perpetrate these lies upon mankind, their fellow man. Now these liars all look down. They don't smile in an openly friendly way. Having just achieved mankind's greatest achievement, they look down and they look very, very solemn. Like they don't like what they're doing or saying.
It took longer to depressurize the lunar module than we had anticipated.
Yeah, look away,
And it
scumball.
also took longer to get the cooling units in our back.
And this guy here.
Operating than we had expected.
Look how they look down when they talk.
Some in substance, it took us approximately an
They're
hour.
not. They don't want to look at him. Yeah, yeah. Look away. You're disgusted. Yeah, you should be.
When
So look at this.
when we actually
These guys look like they got a hot light and 5 detectives about to grill them. Like there's something they're hiding. This is terrible. You guys need to watch this because this interview, I'm not going to sit here and do this all night. But you can come here. You could type that in. Okay, and this one is right there by these people. Okay? Let me do this before I forget. Scumbags. That's why they took that away. They don't want you to see how many people know the truth. But this is painful to watch, these guys. these guys are not men that really achieved the greatest advance in technology and went to the moon and came back and stood on a moon that was in an infinite vacuum universe and didn't get hit by no micrometeorites, no gamma ray, no solar flare, no solar nothing. And they did it in a tin can that looked like 5/10 put together. Okay? This is painful to watch, these guys.
Descended the ladder, it was found
Do they look like they just achieved something so great?
simulations we had performed here on Earth.
Look at this guy, Neil Armstrong in the middle.
Was encountered in descending the ladder. The last step was about 3.5 feet from the surface, and we're somewhat concerned that we might have.
Yeah, look at him. You're doing well, Neil. You're picking up. You're sprucing up a little. Now watch Neil. He's going to be looking at Buzz with disgust. Watch the faces and mannerisms.
More and more dexterity with arms moving and fingers.
Look at Neil in the center.
These things are under study. Of course, the Apollo 12 mission will have 2 different periods of EVA, one early in the mission.
He's disgusted with himself.
Following that,
Buzz is doing kind of good,
General looked at their plans and,
but you would never believe he just accomplished the greatest achievement.
at the beginning of their EVA.
Look at poor Neil. Yeah, you perpetrated a terrible travesty upon your fellow man. Now you will have to answer for it.
Recommendations for how they should change.
Fucking scumbags.
Capability and scientific. A couple of weeks for meditation, it turns out. Briefing schedule. Colonel Collins, if change his character as the angle, the harsh, forbidding characteristics which you see in a lot of the photographs. On the other hand, when day through and have feature, like cruising, as soon as time period is that we did not have some of the displays on the about stubbing your toe. Light side of the moon by eye without looking through the optics. I don't recall during the period of time that we were photographing the sonar control what stars we could see. I don't remember seeing any. Neil, you were a little bit concerned. You set up the sonar control or on the daylight.